I don't like when people constantly go back to that story. It's a big burden to carry. It's relevant to our world and the headlines. I really do love the culture and the people of the Middle East, and I've had beautiful experiences there. But then I'm basically this poster child for what's wrong in the Middle East. Technically, my degree is a bachelor's in Middle East Studies in Arabic. Tom, who is my life partner at the time, he got a job offer in Egypt. So we lived in Cairo and it was super awesome. And we traveled all around. And then my parents came to visit. We spent a few days in Jordan and then we went to Dahab, which is in the Sinai. And that's when 3 bombs went off. We were all injured in it, and that was kind of the end of everything. And it is fascinating because we all lived. So when people talk about the bombing, it is traumatic, but it was also something I got over really quickly because everything that followed it was so crushing. Because the 2 years after the bombing, it was nothing but loss, grief, and being in complete survival mode because Tom was in the hospital for 4 months and then had 15 surgeries that first year. But you have to face real life. Things that I was so passionate about before were just these remote ideas because my biggest concern was whatever was immediately at hand. But 2 years of I just have to get through this. And then you're like, man, I just want to be normal. I mean, I remember Tom decided to go back overseas. I decided to stay here, and that would be the end of our relationship. So there's a lot of things like that where once I did come around, it was figuring out what parts from before the bombing were still relevant and how would those take place in my new life. With that, one of the biggest blessings was meeting Jessica, who's my best friend. We met at Fancy Tiger. It's a fabric and sewing shop. And I met her right before she gave birth to her son, Hamid. I'm like his second mama. It turns out I have the perfect patience for the little kids. So I've been teaching kids sewing for the last 2.5 years. And really, it's really, really fulfilling. There is nothing greater than winning the love of a child. My focus is just to be happy and try to live a more mindful, beautiful life. I don't like being overshadowed by the story when really like that was one night and the last 8 years of my life have been a lot more interesting. The things that I've gotten the most out of those 8 years are having more meaningful connections because that's really what kept me afloat like this past 8 years. Those small, beautiful moments in the midst of a lot of sadness. So now there's less sadness, so why not have more of those moments, you know? Don't you think?